Pope Francis traveled to Assisi, Italy today, where he prayed with the homeless and disadvantaged and with those who help them.
Ha subito con dignità l'esperienza della povertà.
The Holy Father also made an unexpected visit to a convent of the Poor Clares before meeting with several hundred people. The events took place leading to the 5th World Day of the Poor, held this Sunday. EWTN News Rome Correspondent Colm Flynn joins us now from Assisi. Colm, great to see you and welcome back. Can you tell us what it was like there today and who the Pope met with?
Good evening, Tracy, from the town of Assisi in the centre of Italy, where today Pope Francis visited and met with over 500 people from all over the world to honour the homeless, the poorest and those on the margins of society. Now, this is the 5th time Pope Francis has visited Assisi. He arrived in his white papal helicopter around 9 a.m. this morning from the Vatican in Rome, and he went straight to the Basilica of St. Mary of the Angels, which is where the Franciscan order was born. And outside, a refugee gave Pope Francis a pilgrim's walking stick and cloak. The Pope then greeted children with special needs inside the Basilica, as he often does, and then met with the 500 people who had come to see him from across the globe.
And Colm, can you tell us just a little bit more about those people gathered there today? Quite the crowd.
Yes, well, Tracy, these people were mainly Catholic charity workers who in some way were connected with the homeless and those in need. And they also brought some of the homeless and the poor people with them. And a number of these people had a chance to give their testimonies in front of the Pope. And these were quite powerful and emotional. They spoke very directly to the Pope about what life was like in the margins and how they found themselves in the position they did. One was a former drug dealer from Spain, and he recounted how his entire life was turned around after a priest simply smiled at him and then offered him shelter. Then a Romanian woman, she cried as she told Pope Francis that she suffers from such chronic pain that she cannot work. 2 Afghans then recounted how they recently fled to Italy after the Taliban took over their country, but they spoke of feeling that their heart was still in Afghanistan and the pain that that causes them. So, Tracy, emotions were running high in the Basilica this morning. Many people cried and were clearly overcome when sharing their very personal stories with the Holy Father. And in return, Pope Francis thanked them for the courage they had to, as he put it, open their hearts. He said the presence of the poor is often seen by many as an annoyance and something that we just have to put up with in life. He also said that some people are of the opinion that the poor are responsible for looking after themselves. But he stressed that we all need to seriously examine our conscience, our actions, and to look at the injustice of certain laws and economic systems in the world. And he condemned those who want to make themselves excessively rich while letting the weakest get poorer. Hospitality, the Pope said, means opening the doors of our house and the doors of our heart to anyone who knocks. The challenge for us, the Pope said, was to bring them in and make them feel welcomed and not ashamed.
And Colm, before I let you go, we know World Day of the Poor is actually this weekend. So why did the Holy Father make this trip today?
That's right, Tracy. World Day of the Poor is actually this Sunday, but Pope Francis wanted to meet the homeless here in Assisi first, where, of course, St. Francis, the simple friar who lived with the poor and, like the poor, walked these very streets 800 years ago, and, of course, who Jorge Bergoglio chose as his name when he became Pope, the first Pope in history to do so. So this was hugely symbolic to have this special meeting here in Assisi. The Pope then returned to the Vatican by helicopter around midday and will say a special Mass in St. Peter's Basilica on Sunday for World Day of the Poor, where many of the poor people who were in attendance here today will be in attendance there also. But tonight, Tracy, as you can probably hear, there is a lovely atmosphere here in Assisi. Many of those 500 who travelled from all around the world, they're in the cafes and the restaurants and wandering around the streets, exploring this truly beautiful, historic and spiritual town of Assisi. Tracy?
Colm, thank you so much for that report this evening. Colm Flynn, EWTN News Rome Correspondent. Thank you again, Colm.
You're welcome. Thank you, Tracy.